Hello everyone. With things regarding my health being brought into question and people having reached out to me privately, I feel the need to defend myself. So someone on YouTube I watched named Unknown Archive made a video recently about people taking their medications. Now, I don't know if he was talking about me. I think the timing is very convenient, but I oftentimes think people on TV are talking about me. But I'm at least 80% sure he might be, so I feel the need to respond. If nothing else, it will be a nice excuse to discuss a topic I feel very strongly on. Now, this is not an attack on Unknown Archive. I like him. He is not a globalist. He seems to be a interesting person. Consider this more a friendly debate, a open dialogue, if you will. Now, I do not take any medications or see a psychiatrist. I have no desire to take any medications or see a psychiatrist, and by the end of this video, you'll have a clear idea of why. So, let's start with the obvious. Weight gain, I'd rather not. Sexual problems, definitely not. Drowsiness, I have that already. Dizziness, I drive, rather not. Restlessness, I go days without sleeping as it is. Dry mouth, I'd rather not either. Constipation, no thanks. Nausea, again, I'd rather not. Blurred vision, that's not safe at all while driving a car. Low blood pressure, that doesn't sound fun. Seizures, fuck no. Low white blood cell count. We are currently in the midst of an epidemic. Moving on from that, let's get into the history of lobotomizing children and electrocuting gay people. Today, the word lobotomy is rarely mentioned. If it is, it's usually the butt of a joke. But in the 20th century, a lobotomy became a legitimate alternative treatment for serious mental illness such as schizophrenia and severe depression. Physicians even used it to treat chronic or severe pain and backaches. As you'll learn below, in some cases, there was no compelling reason for the surgery at all. There is a surprising history of the lobotomy for its use in mental health. But YouTube schizophrenic, they don't lobotomize people anymore. They don't electrocute gay people. Well, actually they do. Are lobotomies still done today? Lobotomy is rarely, if ever, performed today. And if it is, it's a much more elegant procedure. Learner says, well, that's not much of an improvement. You're not going in with an ice pick and monkeying around. The removal of specific brain areas, psychosurgery, is only used to treat patients for whom all other treatments have failed. So yes, they do them today. You don't have to be gay, offering psychological insight to men with same-sex attraction. When I feel good about myself, my sexual attraction for that guy is not there. Feeling my own sense of masculinity feels a lot better than sex with guys. Perhaps your entire family is suffering from same-sex attraction. Well, don't worry, a licensed family therapist is there to help you. Now that we've got that cleared up, I feel as though we can safely move on to what these pills have done to people before. In bed with Big Pharma, psychiatry should reevaluate their relationship with the pharmaceutical industry. In a two-part series recently published in the New York Review of Books, Marcia Angeli, MD, reviews the state of mental illness in the United States and the disturbing relationship between pharmaceutical companies and American psychiatry. Were it not for Dr. Angeli's strong academic credentials, she is a senior lecturer at Harvard Medical School and the former editor-in-chief of New England Journal of Medicine, I would have mistaken her writings for that of a conspiracy theorist. Her research, however, is solid, and the questions she poses about the influence of pharmaceutical companies on psychiatry need to be asked. We are still not entirely sure how psychoactive drugs worked on the brain. As Angeli notes, the very first drugs used to treat psychosis were in fact discovered completely by accident. Early antipsychotics were originally designed to treat infections, but were soon discovered to also alter patients' mental states. Further research revealed these drugs worked on neurotransmitters in the brain, a discovery that represented an important leap in the field of psychiatry. Unfortunately, the chemical imbalance theory of mental illness, so widely accepted, is not always supported by the current scientific evidence. Peter Gotch, professor of psychiatry in Copenhagen, is a noted critic of psychiatric drugs in the psycho-harm establishment. So far, no problem. Many others are too. The prescribing of psychoactive drugs has gotten totally out of control. Psychiatry has passed from being the lowest prescribing medical specialty to the highest. Gotch also blows the whistle on how Big Pharma manipulates clinical trials, submerges doctors in a fog of propaganda, and generally keeps up the bottom line by damaging public health. So this narrative that people love to push, that by advocating that people take medications and things like that, they are somehow helping, that is just simply not true. Advocating people go to psychiatrists or doctors of any kind is exactly what they want you to do. Now, I am not advocating that people who are on medication stop taking them, or that anyone change their habits at all. I am merely speaking for myself. If going to therapy, taking medications works for you, then good. Thousands of people every day find God, are saved and delivered. Dozens, I'm sure, join Scientology and find enlightenment in Dianetics. We all cope in our own ways. Wait a minute, did you just compare psychiatry to religion? Yes, I did. That would be because it is a religion. I would even go so far as to call it a cult. Allow me to show you what I mean, and I will use their own standards to do so. Why join a cult? Generally, a person joins a cult for the same reason that one participates in Christianity, Judaism, or any other religion. They're seeking an accepting community that validates their beliefs. When Jim Jones was recruiting members for the People's Temple in California, his sermons focused on love, acceptance, and social responsibility. It was only after years of drug abuse, paranoia, and unchecked power that Jones transformed the People's Temple into a cult. More often than not, these groups and their leaders make very attractive promises of power, salvation, and other things that might make a person interested in joining. Moreover, cult leaders are often very charismatic, much like therapists, meaning others find them charming, engaging, and persuasive. This combination of attractive promises and charismatic leaders is intentionally designed to activate powerful emotions and entice potential recruits looking for something in which they can belong. Why join a cult? The illusion of comfort. Answers to this question can take a variety of forms. One that has gotten a considerable amount of attention over the years is the emotional comfort cults can provide. California Institute of Technology psychologist John Patrick Pedersen, in attempting to explain why people are drawn to cults, has argued that the human desire for comfort in the face of fear and uncertainty leads us to seek outlets that can soothe our anxieties. In of itself, the urge to quiet internal demons is not a negative trait. I'd argue that, to the contrary, it's an effective adaptation that allows us to cope with the stressors, big and small, that bombard us on a regular basis. However, cult leaders meet this by making promises that are virtually unattainable and not typically found anywhere else in society. This, according to Peterson, includes complete financial security, constant peace of mind, perfect health, and eternal life. Beyond exploiting human desire for emotional comfort, cult leaders don't always have the best intentions when it comes to the mental health of their followers. An interesting read would be Psychology as Religion, The Cult of Self-Worship by Paul C. Vitz. A trenchant analysis of modern psychology, an enterprise that Paul Vitz maintains to become a religion, a secular cult of self, now part of the problem of modern life rather than a part of its resolution. Virtually rewritten, this second edition of the original 1977 text takes into account much of what has happened in the field of psychology during the past 17 years. 2 completely new chapters are included. Now, I would highly recommend this, because it really does draw many unique comparisons that, well, most people refuse to even acknowledge. And that is pretty much the explanation of why I view my diagnosis as a joke, a gimmick, a moniker. It's a cool sounding word that I've decided to use on my own. You see, I think they label anyone schizophrenic, crazy, whatever term they decide to use at the time, because they question them, because they speak out of line and dare to do anything that they don't approve of. I have come to this conclusion after years of rigorous experience and extensive research on the topic. You see, these people will surveil you. They will look for any excuse they can to drag you from your home, to put you in a mental institution where they will then run clinical drug trials on you and experiment on you for their own ends, whatever they may be. You see, they see us as lab rats, and I don't approve of that. So when someone decides to advocate that people take their medications and seek out psychiatry, I think there should be some level of acknowledgement that they are proselytizing a religion. I feel like this is a very unpopular opinion, and that most people don't even want to draw this comparison in the first place, and I'm not for sure why. I feel like a lot of people are very attached to this particular cult, and they don't even seem to realize just how far involved they are in it. And it's gotten to a point in many cases that so much as questioning it can lead to just erratic behavior I've noticed in people. Now, people get very mad at me whenever I talk about this topic, both in real life and on the internet, so I'm sure this will be a fun video. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as is tradition, and I will see at least some of you next time.